just obviously coming off of a pretty heartbreaking loss on the Saturday game that I thought we really played well at times in, and against a really good opponent, top 20 team. Got an obviously elite player guard, elite level guard, but to me, it's an elite team. I mean, West Virginia is very talented at all 5 positions on the floor. Obviously, we let a guard that's not averaging 30 get 30. She's not averaging 20. She's not averaging 15. But we let somebody really go off on us there. But I mean, our defense right now, y'all, is our biggest issue. Our field goal percentage defense is like 46%. We let West Virginia shoot 53% from the field, 40% from 3, and I think we missed 8 free throws. So offense was not our issue. I think we had 5 players in double figures. We shot – it's the best percentage we've had in conference. I think we shot 45% from the field and 46.5 from 3. And so offensively, 75 points, man, that's plenty of offense. We just defensively, we're just not very good right now. And we've got to address that. Even I mean, we've got to address. We've addressed it every day. We work on it an hour every day. It's just something that I've always said, defense, your chemistry is the last thing that you get in the season. And, you know, we're really struggling defensively 1 through 5. It's not just one position, it's 1 through 5. And so we've got to, and listen, it's about changing, you know, when it becomes important to you, that when things come important to you, is because you've got a change of heart, you know. And when you talk about a change of heart, we're not talking about the one that beats 4,000 times an hour or X number of times a day. We're talking about your inner being, who you are, what your makeup is, you know. And so we've got to address that and change what's important to us, change our heart, change who we are, what we're about. And so that's really a focus for us right now. And, you know, it didn't gonna happen overnight, but if we're going to have any success this year, we have got to get better defensively because 46, almost 47% field goal percentage defense, man, that's not good. And, you know, I don't know when the last time I've even had a team in the 40s, much less at 46. And but, you know, we don't win the game on Saturday, probably because of our free throw shooting and again, because of our defense. Offensively, we had plenty of points in my mind. I think we scored 11 points more than we're averaging in conference. I think we average about 63.7. So, you know, offense wasn't the issue.
Go ahead, Bob.
Just to expand on that a little bit defensively, can you tell when a team is just trying to do what you're asking them to do instead of just naturally reacting to the way the game's playing out? And have you sensed that at all with your defense? Is it something they're just trying to remember every single thing that happens as opposed to just naturally playing the game of basketball?
Yeah, Bob, defense is a learned response. It's like walking by a hot stove with a red coil on, and you touch that red coil. It only takes one time, and you know that red coil's hot. It's the same way with defense. Defense is a learned response. 1 pass away, I'm in denial. 2 passes away, I'm in help. Shot goes up, butt in the gut. Ball screen, I'm hedging and getting through. You know, all those things are learned response. You do them off of instincts. And so, you know, what we're doing right now is we're having to teach kids how to do those things, and we're trying to build learned responses, and it just doesn't happen overnight. And you know, my staff does a great job with scouting reports. I mean, we literally kill the forest when we print them out. They get pretty hefty, and but in a game, there's going to be they're just like me. They're going to put in a new set or two, you know, every other day, every week. And so that's when you fall back on your your habits, your instincts. And so that's what we don't have, to be quite honest. I mean, just because you give up dribble penetration, that doesn't mean you're a bad defensive team. You should have, a back line of defense down there. You should have a 5-player waiting to take a charge or block a shot. They're usually your back line of defense, or a 4-player down there, or a backside wing that's in help, that when the other wing drives it, that's their rotation for the charge, because the post player is not supposed to help off ball side post. I mean, all these things are ingrained over time. And Bob, we just haven't had enough time to really get that in. I mean, we're different how we play. We're not soft. We're on a gap defensive team. We don't, we're just, we're different than what these returners are used to. And then a freshman's a freshman, a transfer's a transfer. And so they're all coming from a different place too. So, it's just sometimes it takes time. No, every time it takes time. And in this case, we just, we weren't given a lot of time. These kids weren't. I look out there a lot of times and, they're trying. I have to say sometimes we're not in the right, most of the time we're just not in the right position. And again, it's just a matter of changing our heart and realizing that I got to be different. I got to change. I got to do things differently. And my emphasis and what's important has got to become this. If I'm in help, I'm in a stance, I'm rotating, I'm going to stick my nose in there and take a charge. I got to have somebody besides Audrey and Ashley and, Celeste that'll stick their nose in there and take a charge. And so that's kind of where I'm at with this, with this team. And we're going to work on it again today, probably for another hour, just like we do just about every day, because it is a struggle for us. And, we'll get there. I don't know when, but we'll get there.
And then what do you think will be different tomorrow night than 2 weeks ago when you played Oklahoma State?
Well, first of all, we better be better in transition. We gave up 19 fast break points 2 weeks ago. So you take those away, we got beat 17. So you take 19 fast break points away, you're right there. So, maybe on the half court, we weren't as bad that night, but transition just wore us out. The press wasn't very effective at all. In fact, they were laying it in on us when we were in the press. So we've got to be smarter and do a better job in the press. And so, I think that's a good place to start right there, is just our transition defense in the press. We've got to be better in that regard. I think Mac went 8 for 16, had 21 and 6 blocks. And, she just impacts the game so much on both ends. That's what makes her a great player. There's a lot of good players that can do stuff on each end, on one end or the other, but don't do it on both ends. That's what makes a great player. And in my mind, she's a great one because she impacts it on both ends of the floor. So we've got to do, we're going to have to, we can't shy away from going at her down there a little bit. We've been having a pretty good inside game. And Lauren went 6 for 7 the other night, had 14, I think, and Charlie had 21. So, we've got to keep going down there and being effective down there.
Kirk, you're up.
Vic, is there anything you can do to keep Charlie from turning pro after this year?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know where she's at in that process. I'm just trying to win a game at a time, and, all that'll take care of itself.
And is there anything that you feel like your team does in the elite level or close to the level that you want as your standard?
I don't think we do anything at an elite level. I mean, I think, again, I think I look out there at times and we're trying, but, trying will get you beat like we got beat on Saturday. I mean, that game is a 2-possession game. So however many possessions offensively, defensively you have in that game, it came down to 2 possessions. 2 possessions differently and you win the game. You can't just point to one thing, but we gave up so many different things offensively. We let a kid go off for 30 that's averaging, a third of that. We did a pretty good job on some of their other weapons that are much better, but our lack of focus there, obviously we let 2 guards get 50, and then their 4 and 5 went 11 for 16. So you can't just point your finger at one position. 1 through 5 on my team right now is really not, but we're just not where we need to be defensively. And so that's what I'm saying. We've got to have a change of our heart. And I'm not talking about the one that beats inside your chest. I'm talking about our being, who we are, what's our makeup, what's important to us. We have to have a change of heart in how we play this game, because 75 points ought to be enough to win. And we just, again, it's 2 possessions, whether it's a missed layup, and we had a ton of them in the game. We missed a ton of shots at the cup. Whatever you want to say, or defending high-low, giving up high-low because we won't deny the high, or we don't guard the ball off the dribble. I mean, you can point to a lot of things, but it's 2 possessions. So that's why I was so, I was really disappointed after the game, because we did a lot of really good things that ball game, but at the end of the day, you don't do enough. Do you take a moral victory and go home and have a beer? I don't think so. I think you go home, watch film till 5 a.m, you drink iced tea, and you get up the next day and you go to work. And that's what that's what I've done.
Go ahead, Danny.
Vic, with Oklahoma State and Baylor this week, and then another game against Baylor a little bit after that, I'm wondering, are you at all concerned that your team may be getting close to that danger zone, that these games may need to be must win in order to reach the tournament? Is that a concern at all?
It hadn't even entered my mind, Danny. I'm a 1 game at a time guy. I mean, this team is different than any team that's been at Texas. So comparing us to who's been here before is not fair to anybody. You look across the country, and you look on the men's side, Danny, there's 4 teams that are pretty good teams. They're not in the top 25 anymore. I don't think those coaches are walking around worried about, are we in or are we out of the NCAA tournament? I think they're going to work every day. Who's next? Let's get ready. Let's try to play the best we can. Let's get better, and let's improve. To me, that's what you do as a coach. Everything else will take care of itself. So, my job is to make sure we get ready for Oklahoma State tomorrow night, and then I'll worry about on Thursday who we got after that.
And then you said you were going to take a look at the film after the Saturday game. Charlie's shots in the second half, was that a product of, Lauren being out there at the same time and, being in the paint, her just not getting the ball, not being aggressive enough? What was kind of the diagnosis for that?
Yeah, again, Lauren went 6 for 7 with, I think she had 14 points. And, we had a really good high-low going with her and Charlie. And, part of it was our inability to get open. Part of it was our inability to run the plays right. Part of it was she had some touches. I mean, she had double-digit touches in the second half. I went back and looked. And so, part of it, you got to give their defense credit for doing a good job denying her the ball. We caught the ball a lot of times not in the right spot offensively. So, there's a lot of things that go into it. And again, Danny, we had 5 players in double figures. We scored 75 points. It ain't about one person. This is a basketball team. So I think what we had was more than enough to win. But because of our defensive issues, that's what reared its ugly head once again. Our field goal percentage defense, Danny, is 46.5%. You ain't winning in this level with that kind of defensive field goal percentage. And I think we shot better than we have all conference season. I think we shot 45% from the field and 46.5 from 3. We missed 8 free throws. So I think it's a combination of just a lot of things. And you know what? It all points to a very young and inexperienced basketball team. That's what it points to. And then throw on top of that a new system, new way of doing things and not much time to try to figure out how to do that.
Go ahead, Andrea.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to talk to you real quick about the Big 12 tournament. I read in the Dallas paper that it's moving forward. And I didn't know if you could give us any insight on what some of those conversations have been like and what your thoughts are about the tournament conference.
Yeah, I certainly haven't had any, they haven't asked me whether I think, we ought to have it or not. I know they want to have it. And I think it's not only good for our teams to have an opportunity to play some more, but I think it's a dry run to get ready for the NCAA tournament in the bubble that'll exist for that. And it gives everybody, not just our tournament, but all the conference tournaments, a chance to get some of the kinks out, so to speak. So I think it's an opportunity again to maybe see what some of the issues that might arise come from such an event. And at the same time, I can promise you, it's not a guinea pig experiment. They're doing it because they believe it's a safe opportunity for our kids to continue to compete. So, they say we're playing, I'm going to get us ready and we're going to go play.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Go ahead, Bob.
Coach, as you try to continue to figure out your team, where they are right now, do you feel like you need to grind on them a little more and really go after them? Or do you feel like you need to love on them and tell them they're really good at what they're doing and it's all going to be okay?
Yeah, it's a real fine line, Bob. It's, I don't think blowing smoke is the right thing to do. I think we've got to, I think being real and honest and accountable is the only way we owe that to them. We owe it to their parents. That's what's going to get them ready for the real world. I self-evaluate every day. I think looking in the mirror and acknowledging, who we are, who you are, what's my pros, what's my things I need to work on. I think that's the only way you can address things and get better. I think a great question, and I've asked my teams this the past couple, 2-3 years is, why not us? I've usually asked my team that when it comes to winning a championship. Why not us? We ask that, maybe in December before we really get into conference. And what that, it really makes them, and I ask them in a team setting. And what you'll find people are honest. Teams are honest. Kids are honest about themselves. They're honest about their teammates. They don't typically worry about offending somebody. And that's what you want. So, I won't call it grinding. I'll call it being demanding. I just don't think you can change. I think they've got to know that they've got to give in at some point and trust us to know that this is the way it needs to be done. And that only comes with a change of heart. Where we are right now, it's just like the world. Why is the world the way it is? Because people won't change their heart. Not that that's equal but it's the same concept, if you understand what I'm saying. We've got to change. You know what? Getting, having umpteen assists, umpteen rebounds, umpteen points, that's not as important as the team winning. And the team winning right now needs me to be a better defender. It needs me to be a better helper. I've got to learn to stick my nose in there and take a charge like Audrey, like Ashley, like Celeste, because that's what's demanded and commanded for us to be successful. And so I think that's, but again, to say it, that ain't enough. You got to do it every day in practice. You got to put them in a position every day in practice, let them experience that, and then praise them. But let them know this is what we need. This is what'll help us win. And, again, you talk about somebody like my daughter Blair that played for me. I mean, she goes from can't guard me and you, her freshman and sophomore year, to spending a summer in the gym with a men's practice player, to a year later, she's on the all defensive team in the Southeastern Conference. Are you kidding me? That doesn't happen just because I say, okay, I'm going to do it. That happens through blood, sweat, and tears. and getting in there and working on it. Took 90 charges in her career. You get run over by a freight train. And look, let's just say she took 90. She got 90 calls for her. Let's say she got 50 called against her, which probably isn't accurate, probably more like 30. But let's just say that's a lot of physical basketball for a 5'6" kid. But that was her change of heart. I don't know if you know the story, but after her sophomore year, she came in, wanted to transfer. And I said, hey, first of all, we're at the house. So if you want to talk to the coach, you need to meet with him at the office. If you're wanting my blessing, I'm not going to give it to you till you go to the office and talk to the coach. So we talk about it. And I told her, hey, you can transfer to North Texas right now and be all conference. You ain't got to change a thing. But if you want to play in the Southeastern Conference, you want to play in the Big 12, you got to change. And that starts in here. And she's what's right with college athletics. She didn't take her ball and go somewhere else. She stayed and went to work. And that's what kids won't do a lot of times. And so with us, it's the same thing. We've got to change. We've got to, what's important, we've got to understand what's important for the team to win. And that's where I think we are right now. Because look, we've been working on it every day. It's not like I haven't spent time on it.
I got time for one more. Danny, go ahead.
Vic, what do you like about the Charlie-Lauren pairing when they're able to play on the court? What advantages do you think that gives you?
Well, I mean, I certainly think they have to respect Charlie from a distance. And so it really leaves Lauren down there one-on-one. And, Lauren's shooting almost 60%, Danny. She's at 59 and change right now. So, you like that number. If you're, for me, guards got to shoot 45% and post players got to shoot 60. Well, we almost have one of those in Lauren. We almost have one shooting 60. I don't have any guards shooting 40. They're all in the 30s. And so, for us, I like that combination because I think they play well together. Charlie we were in the huddle the other night and Charlie says, hey, Lauren's really got doing well down low. Let's, I think I can get her the ball down there. So, I mean, I think we recognize that matchup and we feel good about that. So I do like that high-low look that we can get because if they don't guard Charlie, when she's shooting it like she was the other night, it's hard to deal with us. So we probably need to have more look at that. The only problem then the flip side of that is that, Charlie's got to match up with, in a lot of cases in this league, Danny, a fourth guard. There's not a lot of teams in this league that play with two bigs. Oklahoma State's going to play with it a little bit, but they're going to have a 4-guard lineup for the most part as well. So that's sometimes is the drawback because Charlie's not used to guarding out there. And so she'll get used to it, but it won't be today or tomorrow or next week. It comes over time, and time's just not what we've had right now. So, we didn't really get Lauren till middle of January. And so we've not had that combination around, a lot. And so it's just going to continue to be a work in progress. But I do like that look. The high-low look is really good. And and again, another drawback is you take Charlie out there to 22 feet, you are taking away your best rebounder from the rim. And, she's been really good rebounding. She only had 6 on Saturday. And a lot of that had to do with, again, she's out there away from the rim. And we got to get her going to the rim when somebody shoots it. Follow those guards that are driving it because we had a ton of layups the other night and we didn't make by our guards. And so you might as well start following them and getting in there to rebound.
Thanks for the time today, Coach.
Appreciate y'all. Praise the Lord and hook 'em.